Hey everybody! Whoa, we've got names flying all over the place over here. We don't want that. Hey, technical difficulties are my favorite. Hey everybody, this is Eric Mitchell. It is a Monday, not May. It's June 8th. I keep saying it's May. It's like I'm in denial. It's June. It's June 8th. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We've got a show in store for you today, so we're excited about that. Excited about our new time. We are officially on at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. All of the amazing guests for you, minus the either real drinking or fake drinking that other shows think that they do with cheesy guests. We don't do that with real guests. So excited for that. Also, we'll never bring you a one-sided viewpoint. So that's always good. I always hate shows that do that. So that's what we're here for. So hopefully you're all in for a good ride. Great guest for us today. We have three, as you guys know. It's Military Monday. So that means we bring in law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders are those, and veterans. There we go. Onto the show. Well, obviously, I'm the veteran that's here today. Matt Kachera will be returning next week. He's actually first week that he's off is this week. So he will return next week, as will George Bryant. So we're excited to bring back our normal two. But we're going to jump into our show today, and we're going to touch on some interesting issues. As you know, I've been on this topic for the last few weeks, discussing what has been going on in the world. Over the last 13 days, we have been talking about the police force in our country. We've seen folks around the country talk about defunding police. We saw Minneapolis City Council for the weekend to disband their entire police department. I'd love in the comments for you to share how you actually feel about this going on through your country. You've seen some school districts remove school resource officers. I know it seems uncomfortable because our kids have all been home, but ladies and gentlemen, this is the longest time we've gone without a school shooting. That's because schools are closed. Now, removing those police officers from our schools, it's a scary idea. And while, yes, there are some bad apples in the police force, and we've seen them, it doesn't mean that we don't need, because stop, don't do that doesn't work so well, and sometimes you need somebody that's trained to handle these issues. That's what you need. Who are you going to call if your house is being robbed, being held at gunpoint? Are you going to call the guy who's down there chucking rocks at the cop? What's he going to do, throw a water bottle at a bad guy? No, ladies and gentlemen, the answer isn't extreme from one to the other. We recognize that there's a huge problem in this country. Who doesn't? I'm the first guy to tell you that there is. I'm also the first guy to tell you that this goes beyond policing. It goes beyond these folks who are all pissed off in the country right now, railroading on, I don't know why if I say all lives matter, why everybody gets mad. Well, it's very simple. We live in a country where we, some reason, have taken folks that we watch on TV and have no problem throwing on a number 23 Jordan jersey or a 23 James Laker jersey or a number 0 or letter O Blazer jersey and worship the ground that those athletes walk on, but we don't care that our black brothers and sisters have rights in our country that have been taken from them since they've been in our country. We've always ignored it. Let's worship them on TV, but behind closed doors, we say different things. And you know you're out there and you know it's different. The difference is now our country's had it. We're standing up. Those of us with a voice who aren't brainwashed are standing up. And that's why we're talking about it in this show, because you have to have a voice. You have to put your fist in the air and stand there. It's more than just putting something on your social media and saying, I stand with it. It's the same issues I have with people who say, I support veterans. Do you really, or do you just say it? Do you think doing 25 push-ups does dilly squat for my brothers and sisters who will take their lives today? I'll give you the answer. The answer is no. Your push-ups do dick. They make you stronger, so good for you. But that doesn't truly help anybody. So that's why we cover these topics on our show. Okay, I'll move on because I am running behind. I promise. Nobody likes me running behind. Yeah, I'll hear it from my producers real fast if I'm running behind. But anyways, so we're going to welcome our first guest to the show. He's a comedian. You'll love it. Retired police officer from Mount Vernon, New York. I love it when my producers put these in the notes. Mount Vernon, New York, because immediately they must know that I'm a history buff. I'm like, Mount Vernon, DC. Or no, that would be Mount Vernon, Virginia. Shut up. I don't want to hear messages that DC. I know Mount Vernon is not in DC proper, because you can like walk through DC proper. But he's turned from a retired police officer to a stand-up comic. We're going to mix the two today, but we are going to talk about what's going on in the world of law enforcement. When you have a police officer on your show, this is what to talk about. So we're going to welcome to the show Mr. Eddie Clark. By the way, I'm handling all the ones and the twos today, so bear with me as we go through Eric's slowness. Eddie.
Hey,
welcome to the show, my friend.
This is great.
Oh, my friend, I am doing on a day like today. I'm doing. How are you doing?
I tell you the truth. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, man. It's just watching what's going on, and believe me, I could come here on a whole nother show because I'm also I'm a Marine Corps veteran myself. So we could definitely come back and talk about that last thing you were saying.
Oh, then we totally hit nobody. You're a fellow brother Marine, bro. I didn't know that. Oh, hold on, everybody. We're gonna have a Marine Corps session here for a real quick second. So if you're a Marine, you understand, brother. I had no idea. I apologize. I wish they would have told me you're a brother Marine. That seems like a fact I would have put down. But when were you in?
No, I was in 1974 to 78.
And what'd you do?
I missed Vietnam by that much.
So did our president. It's funny, but he had bumpers.
These things happen from time to time, you know.
They do when being a man comes up. Yeah. What did you do in the Marine Corps?
I actually started out in motor transport and ended up a little while later guarding nuclear weapons and being an MP.
How the heck do you go? If you can't blanket truck it to an MP guarding stuff.
I found myself volunteering. I didn't know I volunteered, but I volunteered to guard nuclear weapons. I went, okay, that works.
Isn't it great when the Marine Corps lets you know what you're doing? They're like, oh, that's what you're doing. You're like, oh, okay.
I walked in and top walked in, Top Acosta took a look at me. He goes, Clark, congratulations. I'm thinking, oh wow, I'm gonna get to drive the tractor trailers now. I'm having a good time. Congratulations, Clark. You just volunteered to the MWW2 unit. Oh, what? And the guys out there on that end of the base at Cherry Point, those guys were to themselves. That was a whole nother. You didn't really deal with anybody else because of the the sensitive nature of what you were doing. We had our own chow hall. We had our own recreational thing, our own place we lived. It was totally separate from the rest of the base.
My God. That is so funny. I had no idea you're a brother Marine. This is awesome. Yeah. This makes it better. Then we truly are military Monday. Woo-hoo.
There you go.
This show just got better. Anytime there's a Marine added to the show, I'm already excited because we have a Secret Service agent on. And, you always watch all the shows where the Secret Service agents are saving the president and doing all the Secret Service stuff. We've had Clint Eastwood as the most elderly Secret Service agent you've ever seen. Every time I watch that movie, I'm going to share it. I watch him. I'm like, no, there's no way that dude's on a presidential detail. He's 80 with a walker next to the car. He's like, no, you're not going to save the president.
Well, it's funny because I guess they didn't tell you anything about it. I worked for the State Department, U.S. State Department in the security division. And we were uniformed, the same uniforms the guys wear at the White House. That's what we wore in the State Department. I was the U.S. Mission in the United Nations. Did that for 2 years also. But believe me, some of those agents are really that old, but you don't want to screw with them. You don't want to screw with them. These guys are badasses.
No, I don't want to mess with anybody with the name Secret Service. They can mess
those cats are badasses. Don't let their age fool you. They kill you.
Yeah. I was watching the protests, and I noticed when you threw something at a Secret Service agent, they don't flinch. They were just like, really?
Yeah.
Do it. It's almost and they're always yoked. I have friends that I've met that work on the detail in front of the White House. They've been in front of it, and just looking at them, I'm like, all right, let the president do his photo op walk. You saw some of those Secret Service agents, especially the one with a long rifle. That dude, what up? I left the gym, and I carried a 50 cal. I wouldn't mess with that dude without the 50 cal. So
I don't put tea in my water. I put gunpowder.
Oh, for sure, that bro. All those secret. So yeah, if you're on a roof, somebody out, and we're gonna ask this.
Those guys are no joke. They are no joke, man. They're for real.
It's just funny when people are like, so somebody texts me, and then we'll get to your interview. But I just love you're a Marine, so I have my Marine Corps minute. Somebody texts me, they're like, Eric, was 2 Fridays ago, not this past Friday, but the Friday before. The White House is being overrun, and I'm like, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that there is no armed looter or rioter who's jumped. I'm like, I think you've seen that one movie with Gerard Butler where they drive tanks.
Tanks.
I'm like,
stuff through that. You tried.
No. Nobody's just jumping that. I'm gonna say that if you jump that fence, you're taking your own life at risk, and you deserve everything that comes forth after you. And I know people don't agree with that, but I'm like, if you jump any presidential palace anywhere in the world, bad things will happen to you.
God protects babies and fools, and that speaks to the two people that, for whatever reason, actually made it through a couple of years ago. One guy made it on the property. They nailed him halfway across, and one guy made it all the way into the White House and made it through the doors. And then there was a female security agent, which does the same thing I used to do. Trust me, there was a reason why that guy didn't go any farther past her, because they get the impression, oh, she's a woman, don't worry about it. They're no joke.
No, they got lead poisoning. They all get lead poisoning. Anyway,
no joke.
We are totally talking about our second. We're so great. Sam's like she's gonna come on and be like, I was in the Secret Service. Thank you very much. I'm gone. We've covered the Secret Service. Let's move on. Let's talk about being a police officer. She'll be like, okay, I got that. But let's talk about that. We're reversed today. That's what we're doing.
Right.
We're not. We're going to do this, I promise. So anyways, let's get to it. Obviously, topic in our country, law enforcement, defunding it. We have rumors out of New York City. I haven't been able to see if they're confirmed or denied that the top brass has either resigned or been fired or is going to be. We're seeing Minneapolis over the weekend defunded or is disbanding their police department, which I didn't even know you could do in a big city like Minneapolis.
You actually can, and that's the problem. You know, we've reached the point in this country, man. You know, and to me, it goes all the way back to the simple thing of a participation trophy. We expect all this constantly. It's always, what can you do for me? What can I get? How can I make this hurt the least? When and I've said it many times on my own, my Facebook page and other places I talked about this. You know, there's really an easy solution to all this. You don't defund the police. You train the guys. You take away the blue wall has to be essentially taken down to the degree in which it's up right now. You know, it can't be the place where good cops are watching bad cops do crazy stuff and they're just allowed to walk. You know, and you can have all the training you want, unless the good cops actually make the call and the supervisors are willing to do what they're willing to do, and the mayors can stop running for office long enough, and the city council can stop running for office long enough to actually do their daggone jobs. If they were doing that, this wouldn't even be a case right now. There'd be no talk about defunding the police, because that's dumb. You know, you need a police force. You know what I'm saying? You need a trained professional police force to get the job done. Some people may disagree with that, but I've been there. I've been around when I remember there was a time when I was on the job and they had we had a shortage. And New York had the same problem. There's actually a shortage of cops. Anybody want to go back to those days? I mean, you know, you got to train the right people, do the right thing. But saying that you want to defund the police and the police got to go, you know, if that's the case, I tell you what, let's do. Let's go to Michigan, get those guys that walked into the State House with those guns that were yelling and screaming at the cops that day. Just let them take over, because that's essentially what we're all going to be doing. If that's the case, let's all carry in this Wild West and let's start popping off. I know people aren't going to some people aren't going to like me saying this because the president says it, but I'll be honest with you. You need law and order. All right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Messing around touching buttons. I agree with you 100%. We need law enforcement. What I don't understand, and you can relate to this. We're both, you know, Marines. We both know that they're, excuse my French, are shitbird Marines. We know it. We know it, and we weed those guys out. Does that mean we need to let's get rid of the Marine Corps and let the Army do our job? No, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we have issues that take place, and there's some ugly things that have happened in the Marine Corps. And I was in the Corps, and I've walked these guys to the brigs that have done horrible things to women. I mean, let's just put it that way. And not once were people like, you know what, we need to get rid of the Marine Corps. Now, granted, the foreign country that these events took place on really wanted us removed, but it took place on countries that we won in World War II, so we still get to say. But I mean, I just don't understand this. And the one that I have, because I have 2 children that go to school, is taking resource officers out of our schools. That one drives me insane because everybody's like, well, we haven't had a school shooting in 9 weeks. And I'm like, because nobody's been in school. It's not rocket science.
Did that situation in Florida a few months ago not teach us anything? Not only do you need resource officers in there to protect the school and protect the kids and the teachers and the staff, you also need good ones. Because we get what they learned, especially after that guy, the one cop decided to take a hiatus. You know, hey, the shooting's over there. I think I'll go over here. You need guys that are trained and know what they're doing. But we can't complain about our kids not being safe if we don't have the guys, have people in there to protect them under those situations. Look, I'm black. I get it. We're pissed at the cops. I get it. I got a grandson. You know what I'm saying? I don't want my grandson killed because his lights were out or because some guy put him on the ground and threw a foot on his neck or whatever. No. But I also trained him to understand what's expected out of him if he's in a situation. So my thing is like this. I get why people are pissed off at the cops. I get it. I feel it as well as everybody else. But sometimes you can swing the pendulum too far over. And I think that's where we're at right now. People are just swinging it too far over, you know.
I agree with you, man. You and I are on the same playing field there. And I had this conversation with a few vets. One of them's a Marine, the Marine rapper actually, Raymond Lott, and Topher, who is we interviewed him actually last week. We talked about the riots. He lives in Mississippi, and we had this conversation several weeks ago before this all happened in Minnesota and the riots across the country. It was a veteran podcast. We did a live feed on it. And we talked about, isn't it funny in the military, you're never broken down by your color of your skin or your sex. When they even rate veterans, they don't care, male, female. There's 24 million veterans in America. Of that, it's just 24 million veterans, not 13 million black veterans and this many Latino and this many Caucasian. No, veteran. We don't even break it down by your religion or sex.
That's it. And the core is the core is where it was.
Because I've been attacked because they've been very adamant in standing up for this because I know the atrocities that go on. My friends have been harassed. I've sat there and been told to shut up. I mean, even in cars, I remember as a kid having several police officers mess with me because I was driving a car and we had a light out, get pulled over, and we're just being normal kids and we get harassed. I mean, our local PD didn't mess with us, but our sheriff's department had no problem doing it. Like, you cross the bridge, they nail you, and you get, from time to time, a crappy cop. Which was funny was then going to that sheriff's academy and sharing that story years later when that happened to me and swear that would never happen because I hate this. But I know profiling takes on. Even Johnny Cochran has talked about this in the past when he was working in the DA's office, being pulled over because, what did he say? Driving because he was black. Magic Johnson just talked about. I mean, and you just hit the nail on the head. You are a retired police officer with grandchildren who go out in public. I mean, and Magic Johnson, I love this interview a week ago on TV. Magic Johnson, somebody asked him, it was Anderson Cooper, actually. Anderson goes, so your kids are cool, right? Because you're Magic Johnson. You're like the face of LA. He goes, Anderson, he goes, yeah, when I get pulled over, people know who I am. I'm Magic Johnson. Yeah. They don't know my kids. And he goes, trust me, my kids have been put into the pavement. And I think that goes back to a training issue. Not all cops are this way. Not every white person in America is racist. Trust me, there's anti-racists who refuse to stand up for any form of it. I happen to sit in that category where it's more than just, I'm going to put a black box on my Instagram. I have no problem with that. And I thought that was amazing. It was really cool to see unity. It reminded me of the days after 9/11 when we would drive down the freeway and flags would be there.
I still say we'll never see those days again.
No, it's sad, right? We have, and our next guest, number one, was in the North Tower, was on the pile. So for me, I have goosebumps just talking about that.
You would have thought that after that, people, and then you have the situation that's been happening lately, and I look at even these protests, and I see like there are a lot of white people out there, a lot of Spanish people out there, a lot of, Asian. I see people out there and people like, yo, put away the BS. Let's go to work here. And I'm proud of that. The fact that everybody, that's one of the reasons I think it's going to be a little different this time as far as what they're doing. But once again, we have a situation where somebody's made up their mind that, hey, let's turn this into something fashionable. Let's turn it into a hashtag. Let's go after the cops and defund the cops. Whoever came up with that idea should be taken out and beaten. I'm sorry. Because the thing about it is, I guarantee you that same person, if I found that person and we got into a beef and I was kicking their ass, I bet you they're not going to call whoever it is they got in mind. They're going to make one call. People love 911.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? People love.
So do the Karens. Yeah, we know the Karens of the world.
So, I mean, let's cut the crap. Let's cut the crap straight. Yeah, the Karens. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But people love 911. And if you look at there's national statistics that show how much people use it, what they use it for. I don't believe America can live without 911. And to have the attitude that we don't need a police force that is going to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? You can't get rid of the bad cops. And that starts with, like I said before, that starts with good cops being the first ones to speak up. I'm telling you, 99% of this stuff can stop if good cops will speak up. When I was on the job, I saw things that I should have spoke up on. And the fact that I was a rookie is no excuse. Either I'm going to be a man or I'm not going to be a man. At the time, I chose not to be. I should open my mouth and some stuff I saw, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? That's on me. That's on me. So to a certain degree, when I watch a lot of these things happening and whatnot with people getting killed, and then sometimes when cops are getting hurt, it's a result of guys like me not standing up. We had the chance to, can you imagine how much different the culture had been? I went on the job in 1979. Can you imagine how much different the culture had been if we had stepped up back then? A lot of this probably wouldn't be happening today. So that's why. And the other thing about it is, if you don't mind me just saying, the other thing about it is, and this is a direct line to any black people watching right now. It's fun, and we get out, we bitch and moan about, hey, this is what happened to us. We were killed. All these kind of things will happen. I got a great idea. One of the biggest things you can do to reform the police department to make sure it's right, young people, join the job. Get on the job. Don't run off your mouth. Pick up a badge, get trained, do the job. Because you know what? A lot of things that happens, especially when these shootings or whatever, it's usually people that's outside of your community. You know what I'm saying? So if you take care of your own community, as they did at one time back in the day, back in the 1700s when they were first establishing this place, they had people that took care of their own community. So, and I'm not saying you're not serving everybody, but it's easy for us to complain, get rid of the cops. It's easy for us to complain, oh, we're getting killed and everything else is happening to us. And it's understandable. I understand our rage. I feel the same rage. I've got a daughter and a grandson I got to think about. I feel the same rage, but daggone it, get off your ass and do something. Stop just bitching and moaning about it. Marching is great. Hey, go out and protest. But how many of you are going to step up and fill out an application and get on the job and help the community? Stop talking about it and do something about it. That's simple.
He just said that's simple. Drop mic. And I feel you the whole time I was over here clapping, man. It's so good to hear that because so many people are afraid to come out and say that. Hey,
you need a microphone drop. There you go.
I don't know. I'm over here focused on your pop shirt, so I'm like, that's dope.
Oh yeah, I got my I think my daughter bought this for me. I think. Yeah.
I love that. Miss that guy.
I love that movie, Poetic Justice. That was a good movie.
Yeah, that was. With Janet, I just shared that on Twitter yesterday. I don't know. I was laying on my floor and messing around, listening. All of a sudden, I started doing work, and I started having like a jam fest in my office. So we had some Janet, some Mobb Deep. I mean, I went like into the 80s droves.
Wow.
We were deep in the 80s last night. I was editing a video and getting ready for today's show. But Eddie, I do want to have you back to deep dive into this. I mean, this is a great conversation. I think a lot of people, need to hear it. I'm sick of our brothers and sisters in blue being attacked. We lost 2 officers to an ambush over the weekend from an active duty Air Force man. Did you see that?
Yeah, did you see that? It's crazy. It's crazy. So, again, and he was ready to go bomb other people. And then during the disturbances, you had a cop that was outright run over, and the dude took off.
Yep.
But
hey, Eddie. But did you notice one thing? Did anybody say let's disband the Air Force this morning?
Hello.
He was active. he was active duty Air Force. We should disband the Air Force. I'm gonna go. Ah, shit, that won't work. We don't disband the Air Force. It was in the Air Force.
People are not, this knee-jerk reaction and the need for everybody to be famous and try to get on Kimmel or whatever they're trying to do, hey, or trying to get some notice on one of the news, CNN, Fox, whatever. Yeah. Stop it, guys, because while you're sitting up there trying to get your 15 minutes, people are dying for real. There's good cops out there that want to do the job. There is more to what those 57 cops did in Buffalo than them just trying to be jerks. They're trying to make a point to you. We're trying to do the daggone job. Oh, let's go on that. Let me just make a quick point about that. The Buffalo situation, and this is what people don't understand. When the Buffalo situation was taking place, the old man that got pushed, the guy was wrong. There's no offense about it. But here's the deal. The reason that the supervisor pulled him up is because when you're in a tactical situation and you're doing that kind of thing, what basically happens is if something happens, they open up the line enough to let that person go through. They continue on to do what they got to do, and they got medics. The medics are basically there to help whoever's wounded. You might have heard that in the news, maybe not. I've been through it. I've been trained for it, so I know what I'm talking about on this. The supervisor, though it looked cold, and I understand, Governor Cuomo, you do what you got to do, sir. I'm not knocking on you. I met you. You're a pretty nice guy. I got no beef with you. But the thing about it is you're supposed to open the line, and this is what happens when you have people that have no experience in this kind of situation. You open the line, envelops that person in, and then the medics take care of that individual, which is exactly what happened. And then the front line, because you can't stop the whole line when you're trying to do an action like that. You can't stop the whole line to stop and help one person in those situations. I know it sounds cold, but that's the way it's trained. And that's what people have to take into account. This was not a callous bunch of guys that's going to hell with this guy. The two guys that got burned, that ended up getting had charges put against them, they have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? They have to deal because pushing that guy, to me, you had to know it was an old man. I'm sorry. I guys got a problem with that. But the rest of the guys, when they're trying to help and the supervisor told them, they know, hold the line. That's the job, folks. That's the job. So don't be so quick to burn all these guys, which everybody did. They immediately wanted to burn every cop because of what happened. That sucks. It's foul. And trust me, when your ass is in trouble, you go down 911.
You're dead right. You are. I mean, I don't know who else you're supposed to call, but 911 is going to be the first one. Again, I can't wait to have you back on the show. We're definitely going to need to get you back sooner than later because I want to talk about your comedy, but unfortunately, the world doesn't allow us to talk too much about comedy today because of what's going on. And I love your viewpoint. Clearly in the comments, people are loving absolutely everything you're saying. You're hitting the nail on the head. It's good to hear because, we hear so many mouthpieces. Everybody wants to be famous, throw a cowboy hat on, get on TV.
Makes me crazy.
And
makes me crazy.
Not tell the truth. I mean, it just drives me nuts. So anyways, I thank you for coming on, man. Semper Fi. I love having him.
Semper Fi, hoorah.
So, and we'll have you back on real soon, bud. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot for having me. We'll talk again.
Thanks, man. Later. Oh, and we're back to me. Look how this worked. I'm always proud of myself when I figure out how technology works when it comes to me. So hopefully you got some good insight on this. I know it's easy when we're talking about these topics to watch our TV and let the news kind of give us our insight. That's why we have shows like this. Interesting studies have come out that say more people are taking their news from pod and shows streamed on the internet than they are from their mainstream outlets, because we don't have to answer to certain people and we get the real story, the real dope of what is going on in the world, and we give it to you unfiltered and uncensored, which I think is very important. Our news has become way too cherry-coated. It doesn't matter what side you're on, whether the left or the right. Watching the news now is extremely hard to stomach. The fact of some people that they put on there looking for insight, half those people don't belong on there. And if we want to get to the truth of the matter, folks, when we're talking about the news, and we're going to jump to our guest in a moment, but when you talk about the people that are going on in the news, understand a lot of these people are paying to go on TV to say what they're saying. They are far from experts. Now, if they don't have a title where they previously did something that they have the expertise in there, they're just paying to be there. So unless they are prior law enforcement, Secret Service, CIA, military, they've paid to be there to give their 2 cents to you. That's their opinion that is making them somehow some expert for being on your TV. We don't do that on this show. When you want law enforcement, we bring it to you. When you want to hear what's going on in the world, questions, we'll put it here on this show. So that brings us to our next guest, which I'm extremely excited to talk to. Anytime, like I hinted to earlier, anytime you get to talk about the Secret Service, it's extremely cool because, well, it's the Secret Service. So come on, it's secret. You don't get to hear about it. I'm just kidding. But our guest has an amazing story. She was in the North Tower on 9/11. So she survived the terrorist attack on that day. Spent some time on the pile, several weeks or months on the pile. We'll get the exact number from her. Wrote an amazing book about her experience on it and suffered what we would all explain, what those of us in the military clearly know, what is post-traumatic stress disorder. It really gets in your head. I can only imagine that day. I have goosebumps just talking about this moment. I've been to Ground Zero. I've been by those reflecting pools. Still to this day, anybody who tells you when I go into downtown New York, I'm the first one to look up and take pictures of that tower, that area. I mean, look, I have goosebumps while I'm talking to you guys about this. Those attacks still linger in my head today. I'm excited to talk to the Secret Service agent who not only was there for Ground Zero when 9/11 occurred, but also has worked on a few presidential details guarding first ladies, the president, and other foreign dignitaries. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest of the show, Miss Samantha Horowitz, but she goes by Sam. So when you hear me say Sam, I'm not being disrespectful. So don't be that person who keyboard warriors me. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I just feel so blessed and honored to be able to share the time with the amazing guests and you today.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on. We're excited to have you on, and you have an amazing story. And Secret Service has been in the news a lot as of late. Everybody seems to know everything you guys do, which is funny because it's a secret. So I don't understand how they know so much. And, I think people watch one too many episodes of West Wing or other things and automatically figure the Secret Service is, you guys have protocols and your job is to keep, number one, the White House detail is to keep the president safe. That's your number one order. But you guys do a lot, obviously, you don't just protect the president. You guys are also on details of foreign dignitaries. Every former president gets a detail too, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And a lot of people don't even know that there's 2 distinct divisions of the Secret Service. We have our uniform division, and those are the men and women who have been in the news, have been out front. Though you will see them out front in the White House in uniform. And then you have the agents inside the White House. And interestingly enough, that if you're not detailed outright to Washington field office or the White House, you go to a field office around the world. We have field offices around the world, and you're detailed to an investigative squad. So I served on the Electronic Crimes Task Force in New York, and with the UN being there, my role while I was fighting crime was also to protect all the foreign dignitaries coming in through the UN. So it is an extremely busy field office.
I was going to say the UN is, just has a few big dignitaries that come rolling through there.
Just a few.
Yeah, just a few. Just, nobody important ever comes in through that. I've been there when session was when the when the UN was in session, and it's just crazy being around there. I was there in June and they weren't in session, and we stayed at there's a Marriott, it's the Hilton owns the Millennium Hotel, which is right across the street. It was the first hotel in New York I've ever gone to that also housed, apparently there's other buildings for folks that use the UN. And it was the most high security building I've ever been in that was a hotel. But I was really safe. I felt really safe at breakfast too.
You were extremely safe. Yeah, I've been
really
to the hotel.
Had some friendly canines out front too that loved sniffing everything we were doing. But anyway, so let's talk about, you have a book, and it covers you and our next guest both obviously have stories about one of the worst days in American history, which I think is 9/11. I used to think it was Pearl Harbor because there was a huge amount of loss of life. Obviously, I was stationed in Hawaii, so my brain goes to the Arizona Memorial and remember watching the film. I was not alive in 1941, unless I stunningly have had more plastic surgery than anyone. But trust me, I haven't. I was not there. But, we've watched the footage of that. But then we think of 9/11. Now, you were in the North Tower on 9/11.
Correct. I was just going to work with everybody else in the elevator. We were coming up from the ground level. It's where we parked our government vehicles. And while we're in the elevator car shakes, the lights flicker. And at first I thought, great, I'm getting stuck in an elevator. And I was already running late because there was an accident on one of the bridges that at that time in the morning, the roads were clear. And so I was running late. Now I'm getting stuck in an elevator. I'm thinking to myself, okay, my supervisor's never gonna believe what happened. And we've got a major police meeting going on to prepare for a UN 50th anniversary big to-do in the city. So after that happened, hearing these really strange noises and the elevator car starts flying up. High rate of speed, grabs all of our attention, and then we stop. And we stop so abruptly that the elevator car is bouncing under the tension of the wires that control and the cables that control the elevator. The doors fly open. We are met with immediately a debris field. The hottest ball of dust that you can imagine. It just blows us back into the elevator car as we try to step off. And my training brain takes over. And I'm thinking explosion. Training, your guest, the Eric that you just had on, we are trained at the highest levels, very extreme levels. The stuff that we go through is so that we can respond calmly in a chaotic situation, which is key, especially in the protective world of having to move protectees when chaos ensues. So I'm thinking, there was a bomb. And my brain just said, get out. And I just started grabbing people and went up an escalator and out an exit door I had never used before. And it put us on the plaza. And that's when I knew something very, very bad had happened. There was just metal and pieces of concrete and pieces of people raining down from the sky. It's an eye opener.
Wow. That's your story is intense. Wow.
Yeah, intense is the perfect word. Very.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry. I have to kind of regroup myself here after hearing that. The smile on my face is only because that's just because I'm doing TV. Wow. That's crazy. Just what you had to experience. I mean, can only imagine. I've heard from firefighters on the ground what it was like, but hearing your account, I've never talked to anybody who was in the building when it occurred. And you were in the building when that was the American flight, the
American Airlines Flight 11. Yep.
Yeah, Flight 11, the one that hit the North Tower.
Muhammad Al-Tam. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Wow. And then there's the worst one, though, the United flight that came swooping out that I swear I remember that. I can't even watch TV when that one comes on. That one's the worst one. And they show it on 9/11 all the time. Like, it's like their favorite photo to show. And I'm like, can you not do that one? So the Secret Service, your building, how many brothers and sisters, did you guys lose that were already in the office on that day?
We lost one, and he was up from DC. Again, when we were preparing for this UN event, we brought armored cars up from DC, and so we had a unit, a whole squad that was assigned from DC in the parking garage because we had secured parking, and we think that he just got off shift, went to sleep. There was the Marriott that was down there at the World Trade Center complex, and that he never woke up. Finally found some of his remains, so we were able to bring closure to the family. But it was a long time, and my building was building 7. So there's, for everybody that remembers, you can look it up. There's 7 buildings part of the World Trade Center complex, and World Trade Center Building 7 was where I worked, and it was also the last one to come down that day.
And that's the one that's famous for all the conspiracy theories, right? Is that the same building? That's the one that they swear was like proof because they're all engineers suddenly. I love internet conspiracy people. They figure everything out quickly. They're like, we know because of bad math and watching too many movies. I mean, obviously, sorry, I don't mean to make humor of it, but every time I watch anything that talks about the documentary, I see this building brought up, and I'm like, Sam, you were one of those secret people. You were in on it, weren't you? You were one of those people.
Must have been
those guys. So you worked on the pile afterwards. I know the guest that follows you also has worked on the pile. He's retired FDNY. So you worked on the pile, and that's actually I do want to get to talking about PTSD. Obviously, this is a very veteran-friendly show. Every episode, I am a veteran. I work with tons of veterans that struggle with PTSD. We all have our own struggles with it. From working on the pile in your book, that's really what triggered your PTSD. I know you call it PTS. The Marine in me will always call it PTSD. That's what we do in the military. It's our own word. We love it, but that's ours. So kind of, if you don't mind, I don't want to talk about issues that you don't want to talk about, but talk about that experience and what triggered that, because a lot of folks out there that are watching, especially our veterans, we have a few that are on the show that are watching. You know, when we talk about PTSD, it's one of those things that people don't get. You know, we look normal, right? We look like normal, average, everyday Joes. We get in our car, we drive, we drink coffee, we do everything. People don't understand that it's different in our heads. Like, I always try to say, I tried to tell my kids, they asked me, and I said, it's a lot like, there's a line that Jack Nicholson says in Batman that always stuck in my head for my whole life about PTSD. I may be smiling on the outside, but inside I'm broken. It's kind of how I always feel with PTSD. It's like, on the outside, I'm like, you're a good guy, but then you share that with somebody and they're like, does that mean you're going to go grab a gun from your car and shoot up a post office? No, it doesn't. That doesn't mean that at all. I don't know why people think automatically if you have it, you're disgruntled and you're, an at-risk person. So it just kind of, it's one of those things. So share your story. I don't mean to ramble. I apologize.
Yeah, so I actually did not work the pile. I was down and volunteered my time along with my husband, who basically took care of the NYPD folks doing mobile chiropractic treatment and really getting anything that they needed. So that's when the Red Cross set up all the tents. So I didn't work the pile. So my post-traumatic stress actually came on when I got back to my apartment, and I didn't know what it was, because you see these four letters, PTSD. It's never talked about except for maybe 30 minutes I think we got in training, but you never think it's going to happen to you. And so when I got back to my apartment, I couldn't be in an enclosed space all of a sudden. I'm like, well, this is weird. I mean, classic PTS, sweating, anxiety attack. I never experienced anything like this, but I figured, okay, I'd just been through something really stressful. This is natural. So let's just bury that. Let's just throw that to the side. And then started with the nightmares and the hypervigilance, and then full-blown addiction to alcohol eventually ensued, and that was after I transitioned out of the Secret Service. It was a very difficult decision to resign as an agent, something that I worked extremely hard for, and something that I thought I'd be there forever. That would be my job forever, because you don't leave the Secret Service. I was one of 8 agents in 1 month to leave the service because of the effects of post-traumatic stress. We were a disaster mess of a field office, and the SAC of the field office, special agent in charge, ultimately was removed from duty and transferred as well for what I'm guessing was ineffective leadership, which occurred and continues to occur in our first responder community. And so it took me a long time to write the book, to really relive some of the symptomologies, to go through in my head. My memory is still affected to this day with timelines and stuff like that. So I dropped the D, and I'm not alone in this. because I was able to make it back, and just so grateful to everybody that helped. I had a wonderful therapist. I'm not a disordered human being. I went through something terrible. I went through something traumatic, and I got better. And I learned to manage the triggers. And through an organization that I started with some amazing people, you had him on a show, retired NYPD Detective John Salerno. He and I started an organization called A Badge of Honor, and you can go on to abadgeofhonor.com. And what we do is we are in the education space, and we go into police departments, fire departments, wherever there are first responders. They contact us, and we put on a workshop to where you leave our workshop with tactical tools, proven methodologies that you can use. So when the stress comes up, whatever the stress is from, so PTSD related or non, wherever your stress comes from, you can employ these tactics and you can dissipate the stress. You can watch your stress level come down. It's brought relief to a lot, and we've expanded. We've got the mental health community behind us, and we brought on an amazing guy from the Healing Springs Ranch. He dives in even deeper with first responders and families. So it's all about healing. It's all about getting well. This is PTSD Awareness Month, and it's now time. I mean, with everything going on in our nation right now, got to take care of yourself out there, because we are seeing anger and the stress boiling over, and bad things are happening. And now we're talking about defunding the police, and ridiculous.
Oh, yes. So you clearly heard our first conversation about talking about defunding police.
Yeah.
Before we jump to that topic, and then we need to go, but I do want to touch, because anytime we talk about helping the badge, including first responders, and of course my brothers and sisters in uniform, and I know your organization, John and I have chatted about it. You guys do work with veterans.
Yes.
It's important to talk about mental health. I think this is a struggling time, already coming off of 8 to 9 weeks of a pandemic. I think we have more people now kind of understanding our, I don't want to call it a plight, our struggle. When I talk about the veteran community, we're still losing 22 to 30 veterans a day to suicide. The VA is a sick joke, and it always has been. They don't treat anything. But then we look over on the other side of the fence, and we look at the badge, and we can focus on New York City. And I hate always focusing on New York City. I feel it's all we do. It's like, hey, New York. But we've had a lot of NYPD officers take their lives, detectives. It's crazy how any job that's under high stress seems to be, this is what we're doing. Now we're seeing the doctors that were saving COVID patients' lives, taking their lives. I think one of the biggest issues we have, and I'd love your feedback on this, one of the biggest issues I believe that we're going to face isn't just a very struggling economy, is a huge mental health crisis as we come out of this and people try to get back to, like my wife says, there is no new normal. It's what we're kind of rolling out to. It's going to wear down on people, which is going to tax the system that already is not prepared. It clearly can't take care. Private organizations like yourself have to take care and provide counseling to our first responders and veterans. And there's other organizations that are out there helping veterans also. But I mean, it has to be private organizations. What can people do? If you're out there, what advice do you give to folks who are, they think they have they don't know. They're just kind of bummed out, right? Everybody's kind of I just use that because people are like, I'm kind of bummed out. That's not my explanation for what it is, because I get it. Been in the military for a minute, you understand this is chaos. It's going to cause your brain to kind of all over the place. But a lot of people aren't used to this mass chaos that we all, in any kind of weaponized group, understand mass chaos. It's part of our training. We get bullets shot over the top of our head in training. So we're used to this. It's like, don't put your head up. What? You'll be dead. Oh, okay, cool. I'll keep my head down. So what's your advice to folks out there that are kind of teetering? I can't tell. Am I depressed? Am I struggling with this? There's a lot of hate going on. I mean, would you say advice is like turn off your social media for a week and kind of separate yourself from what is clearly madness? Just turn on your Twitter and it's like one little gigantic hate-filled place.
Yeah, I've been on shows, last week, and I say you've got to disconnect. You have to put your phone down, close out the social media. Please turn off the mainstream media because you're being fed false information, and it is designed to play on your fears. And when you have fear causes stress. So your stress level hits the roof. I am not immune. I can tell you I've made a lot of phone calls because my stress levels have been up, seeing everything that is going on. And it's a conscious effort to unplug. So you've got to decide and choose to really do that. And I'm hoping that more people can do that for their mental health, can unplug. If you know that you're feeling like something's wrong, that you feel like you're not yourself, or you've gotten feedback from other people saying, hey, are you all right? Or can I help you with something? You know that something's going on. There are tons and tons of resources out there, so you can get lost. So I'm saying, if you want to start with a clearinghouse, we have wonderful partners. Go to abadgeofhonor.com, scroll down, and you will see the amazing folks that work with first responders, that work with veterans and family members. It's key. We got to take care of the family members. Click on the links, go to them directly. Their numbers are right there. Call, have a conversation. And, if you're in the Dallas area, I'd say you are extremely hooked up. But the folks that are there are nationwide. If they cannot assist you, they will be happy to refer you to a program. I promise you, you're not going to get lost being shuffled around or trying to, endlessly search through whatever search engines, you use.
Absolutely. Wow. This has just been this is awesome. You
Yeah,
shared a lot. And for folks that are watching this after we've gone live, just please scroll down on our YouTube. You will see this. We will have all of these backed up with Samantha's information, how to purchase her book, and connect with her organization so you can get your family and yourself. If you need that help, please reach out. Please use it. If you have any questions, please reach out to our team here at To The Point, and we'll gladly point you in the right direction. But if you're watching, just simply scroll down and we'll have all the links there so you can get connected right away. Sam, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. We'd love to have you back on whenever you'd like to come back on. We didn't even jump into any cool Secret Service stuff. I mean, we didn't even get to talk about Clint Eastwood playing an elderly Secret Service agent running around. So, I mean, I'm kind of heartbroken I didn't get to pick on Clint.
Stop watching the movies. Those aren't real either.
I know, but it's fun because you watch them and you're like, this is really cool. Like,
if you want the most accurate portrayal, the National Geographic did a wonderful program. They came out to the Academy. They did great. So yeah, kind of put the Netflix aside, go to the National Geographic, you search Secret Service, and then
that's how I feel about military movies. You'll
see the armored cars, you'll see the way we train to drive, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you probably feel about those shows like I feel about military stuff when people don't reload. I mean, you probably feel the same way about people who don't reload in movies. Like, it's just, they just have unlimited, like, they're just moving up. And, like, I'm like, does nobody reload? Just like you have endless bullets. Where did that come from? I love endless bullets, but that never happens in my world. So, but that's good. So thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to have you back very soon. Thank you so much, and be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for what you do and your platform. Really appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you so much. Wrong. There we go. We're back to me. Well, there we go. Woohoo! We can figure this out. I promise. I got it all down. I promise. I promise. Make sure, speaking of subscribing and doing all things that are subscribing, I can do it. Look, you see right there. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Share with your friends. We're trying to get to 100 still, so you can help us reach that goal. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash it. I'm excited for our final guest. Gonna bring him on. He's been on, this is like his third or fourth appearance. He's like the Alec Baldwin or the Steve Martin of our show. I'm sure he's gonna love being compared. And two great comics. If you're gonna be compared to people, those are two great people to be compared to. He comes on our show. John LaRocchia is gonna join us. Obviously, he's a retired FDNY Hazmat 1 firefighter. Also runs an amazing organization called Laughter Saves Lives. We've talked about it, heard about it. He interacts with a lot of our guests on here. He's been challenged to a duel versus a amazing Marine Corps veteran, Lisa Bodenberg. We also heard other rumors that we have other Marine vets are ready to get in the ring with him. So I don't know. You challenge one Marine, you get a whole bunch of us. It's a problem. But let's welcome John to the show.
Oh no! What are you doing? You put me on last all the time. Like I gotta follow Secret Service and Eddie Clark, Marine, cop, and it's like, let's see if LaRocchia can follow these guys. You're waiting for me to screw up. It's you want me to screw up. And I should get partial production fees. I introduced you to Salerno. Who gave you Sam? I gave you Eddie Clark. What am I getting for this? Nothing.
Hey. My defense yesterday when we were doing show schedule for today.
Yes.
And we could have, Butch, you want to jump in on this conversation, or you could text to support this.
That's Butch's like, if he has the time, he'll get you in. Like, just stand by all morning. That's how Butch's gives it to me. Listen, if everybody...
Hey, I said, you always complain to me that you last. And then he goes, well, we saved the best for last. And I'm
all right, I'm the closer. You're the
closer. I mean, it is a tough opening act to go from a Marine cop to a Secret Service agent. But I mean, in you and your own ado, my friend, you were FDNY. I mean, you do.
You know what? Solano and Samantha and I were at Solano's house 2 years ago for the Super Bowl party. We were all in the same room.
Ooh, that's awesome.
I got to the buffet first.
Okay, well, was it good though? Because we know that you guys know how to cook.
Solano did all the cooking, and him and his wife did a wonderful job. I'm just glad to get invited somewhere, so I don't care. I don't get invited. I wanted to bring up something Eddie Clark said. I want to, oh my God, comedy is so important right now, and it's a fine line. There's a fine line here right now, because there's a lot of serious stuff going on. But you mentioned the stress and the post-traumatic and the stress. Stresses are up here. So we know, I'm putting my comic hat on. As comics, what is our responsibility right now? Is our responsibility to make people laugh? Should we be more serious? Even with our Facebook posts, I think we need to try to get some laughs in as we're delivering a message. I'm actually holding a forum on Thursday with a bunch of experienced comics, basically saying that, and Eddie's going to be on it, basically saying, what should we be doing different, if anything? Should we be doing things differently moving forward? Because we do have followers. I have 2. Eddie has 2,000, but we do have followers who look at us, just like with the mask. If I'm doing a show with somebody else next to me, and I don't have a mask on, well, subconsciously people are thinking, well, LaRocchia's not wearing it. He's a hazmat guy. So even though at times I don't need to wear my mask, I'm socially distanced. If I'm going to be in a picture, I throw it on because I think I have an added responsibility, Oh,
I agree with you. I mean, I think more people need to wear them out in public. I mean, especially you hazmat one, that makes sense. It's hard. I mean, if you look at it over the last week, from all of the things that have been going on, it seems you need to wear a mask in public, except if you're protesting.
Well, but see, I don't agree with that because obviously, they should be wearing a mask.
Well, absolutely.
Okay? And a lot of them are wearing masks. Mm-hmm. But I see people going, I passed 2 blocks from my wife's hospital, picked her up at work, where how many people died in that hospital a few weeks before. There's 50 people in the parking lot of this bar on top of each other with no masks on. And I'm driving by like this. I said to my wife, I got to pull over and say something. But they should be wearing masks. And a lot of their excuses are, hey, they're protesting. They're not wearing. No. One, it's like we used to say to our kids, do as we say, you know what I mean? You don't tell your kids, oh, it's the right thing to do, but sometimes it's not. It's the right thing to do. Wear your mask.
I agree with you. There's a lot of nonsense going on. So, yeah, that's...
By the way, thank you for you coming to co-host my show with me tomorrow night, correct?
That's what I've heard. Well, last.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
No, you're co-hosting. You're on the whole show. Yes. Maybe next time you'll get a little hint. Keep me on a little earlier, but you're on the whole show. Okay. And what I want you to do is, you see how professional you are and everything like that. Throw all of that out the window tomorrow night and start, because we're gonna have a good time. We actually have some good guests on tomorrow. I think you'll enjoy the show. We have the head of FDNY EMS union on. We have somebody who works at a nursing home talking about they can't have visitors still. These people cannot still have visitors. And you talk about stress, right? They're in there. They're in a nursing home. I wanted to bring up something you mentioned to Eddie about the cop that pushed that elderly gentleman. I don't think the cop really wanted to hurt him. I don't think he wanted to knock him over and hit his head. He pushed him too hard. He was wrong. But and I like what you said about if that video plays out, let's say 30 seconds more, was there an EMS behind all those guys who were taking care of that gentleman? Where I was trained in hazmat is if there was a release of something in the subway where 100 people went down, the average firefighter goes in there and treats those people. My job as a hazmat responder was to step over the bodies to get to the device to disseminate it, to stop it from releasing or whatever. So could you imagine if a video was playing, if something like that happened, and here's John LaRocchia in his hazmat suit, and somebody's grabbing up, help, I'm supposed to step over that person because my job is to find the device, find the leak, and contain that. So I was just thinking of that when Eddie said that. I could have been in that situation maybe, Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting situation. And if you do watch the whole video, in Eddie's defense, he's right. They did provide the echelon line where they push forward because they can't have the line stop with him right there. He pushes forward. They give a 5-foot gap just in case anybody does anything stupid. Then you see the National Guard medic come up and do what medics do best, render aid. They provided a circle around him and got him out. Does that excuse the officer's actions?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
But was medical aid provided? It was, absolutely. And it's ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and we've been talking about defunding the police on today's show. We heard Eddie's viewpoint. Sam jumped into it. Obviously, her amazing story. I'm still trying to come back from just her description of what happened, on 9/11.
Amazing.
I mean, you're familiar with 9/11. Also, it's just, I'm still coming back from that. I was like listening to her story, and I was glad I was off camera. I mean, I'm not one for lack of words, especially anything with, foul language or Eric. And don't worry, tomorrow I will be chill. I'll be I will not use this fancy backdrop tomorrow. I'll be chilling in a seat like you.
Use like my backdrop. See the manger that's been up for 2 years since our Christmas party 2 years ago. I think my daughter's supposed to take that down, and I refuse to do it because it's her. So it's been up for 2 years. We have the manger. Yeah. I
love it. So we have a question, John. Where can folks find the link for tomorrow's show since people for some reason want to tune in to watch me?
You can go right on my Facebook page, John, my Facebook page. You can go on to Strong Island TV. We're also on YouTube Live and Strong Island TV. Google it. You'll find it. We have a good show. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to have some interesting stuff, and we're going to have Eric, who's going to just let go. He's going to let go on my things he can't do here. It's going to be a mess. I'm telling you. I'm not
allowed to do things here. I'm pretty outspoken. I don't know.
I don't mean outspoken.
You're funny. Oh, I can be funny, like funny, ha ha.
Funny, ha ha. Yes.
Funny, ha ha.
Yes.
Sorry. Always.
LaughterSavesLives.org. I just gave a plug. Laughter saves. I'm very ADD. He's not.
It's good. We're both that way. That's why I think this is why they put the two of us together at the end, because it's like, what the hell, squirrel? What the hell are these two?
Yeah, absolutely. We did some good stuff during COVID. I'm very proud of what we did.
Yeah. I
actually got a little award from. This is funny, Eric. I'm supposed to be doing a show up in Binghamton. It was June 4th. Obviously, it was canceled for a Retired Firefighters Cancer Foundation. I get a call. I didn't know it was from the Binghamton TV. And they're like, oh, you still doing that show? We want to interview you. I go, no, but we're doing some other things. She goes, we'll interview you anyway. She's thinking I live in Binghamton. She does the interview and plays it on Binghamton TV. I'm in Long Island. I'm talking about Long Island stuff. And I didn't find out till 3 days later she was in Binghamton.
Well, it happens. Well, you're famous, see?
Oh, yeah, I'm famous. Up in Binghamton.
Up in
famous
in Binghamton. Maybe somebody will buy you a donut or a hot dog. I don't know.
So, we bought the 4,000 masks. I got an award. That was nice. We're doing September 4th, a big show at Malloy College. Hopefully it'll take place. A national show you can click on the internet. Many charities, military, fire, police. It's going to be a great show. And I'm putting together the Laughter Saves Lives Heroes Tour. And Eddie Clark is going to be part of that. So it's going to be a tour. Yep.
I was checking my email. I missed my invite to be part.
No, because you're not on it. Eddie Clark, Cobb's, what can I tell you? Not on the show. Cobb's Fireman, military. Well, if you want to audition, you want to send a video. Do you have no?
No, I'm just busting your boss. We have that celebrity boxing match that we have. I'll hook you up there.
I had her on my show. She is freaking serious. I kept telling her, it was a joke. And she's like, no. We're gonna do this for charity.
When we could do good for Laughter Saves Lives and put veterans and first responders together, it makes a beautiful thing. And plus, watching Lisa beat you up, that would be good for TV. So, I mean,
I'm trying to find a female firefighter who will step in for me after like round 1. Like I can get out there and like you dance around for a while, run away, and then get somebody else in there.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to see that. That'll be even better. But we got to put that together. But anyways, it's always great having you on the show. Anything else we want to chat about? I mean,
that's what else we have coming up. So we have that. We're going to do a live show on the internet with the Responders Tour, Heroes Tour. Oh, I changed the title. The last time it was the Responders Tour. I'm now including comics who are healthcare professionals. I don't want to call it our new heroes. They were always our heroes. Yeah. But we got smacked in the face to see how wonderful these people are. So I have a few nurses, doctors. We actually have one nurse who has never done stand-up and wanted to do stand-up and started taking a class right before the virus hit and then had to stop the class. We are going to develop her act as part of the tour. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
And where will the tour be?
The tour is going to be at different locations. We haven't scheduled any shows yet. But we will be doing theaters and stuff like that.
Sweet. I'm going to make sure I'm going to catch a few. I'll heckle.
Yes, heckles are good.
I'll be the lone heckler in the back.
No,
this is why they do it last. I don't know. I'm just going to throw shit out there for you.
After we go off the air next time.
But anyways, John.
John, you're on. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
John, you're on. You have 2 minutes, and we're done. We're wrapping. Your time. I always make sure John gets
sports with Eric. We'll just talk sports with Eric. That's it. You're off the air.
Yeah,
thank you for
having me.
Good.
Hey, by the way, you get the stamp of approval. My mom says that she loves guests, so she's talking about you. So.
Hello, mom. Seriously, I appreciate you always having me. Anytime I can get out the word laughterSavesLives.org and people can check it out, it's always good. We actually had we have a breakfast every month. The retired FDNY hazmat guys. There's no diners open in New York, right? Everything's closed. So we met at Jones Beach on the boardwalk. We socially distanced, made a circle. It was nice. It was nice to see the guys today.
You didn't do that whole soprano thing where you sit on the bench and then one's on the bench like they did on the boardwalk?
No. We had a nice morning. No,
my mom, because you said Long Island, my entire family on my middle name side, they're all from Mineola. So.
Oh, Mom! Next week, Field 6, right by the concession stand. That's where we're going to meet. So if you want to come, I'll bring. No,
she's on the West Coast now, but that's where she was raised. All her entire family.
I was going to bring her an egg sandwich.
Oh well, when we come out to New York again, because we're going to come out. My baby brother lives. He lives in Manhattan. He's down in Soho, so he's been. He finally left his apartment, and now he's helping clean up Soho from everybody who decided to go shopping. I mean, looting. last week.
Yeah. Are you going to be in around September 11th? Because in the afternoon we do the calling of the names at the church a block away from Ground Zero. There, we helped produce it, sponsor it last year. Laughter Saves Lives. Anybody that was lost that helped out on 9/11 that passed away, you didn't have to respond, cop, fireman, whatever. Anybody that helped out, died of any kind of causes, we read their name in the church.
I'd love to be there. I've never been in New York on 9/11. Just always one of those days that I don't even feel right being. I'm a huge, supporter, but that did, like I said, just talking about it. I'd love to be there, man.
You can read some names. We'll give you some names to read.
I'd be honored. Yeah.
My daughter sang last year, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and another song. She knocked it out of the park. People were really moved. It was a great experience.
Real quick before you go, we stayed in Manhattan for Christmas because my brother couldn't get the time off. So the whole family, we all flew in. We stayed in Soho and we went for a walk. I believe it was the day before Christmas Eve, so the 23rd. I want to say it's off Houston Street. There's a church in Soho, and it's a Catholic church. There's a beautiful nativity scene that they put away, unlike you. And up on the door of the church in this beautiful brass is Jesus and all this cool in the city, but they have the towers up there. And of course, I took a step out into the street over, and of course, those streets just have a straight shot. Yeah. And my son, who is 13, he kind of grabbed my arm. He's like, "That's deep." He's like, the fact that you could see that, take two steps, and he thinks of course, for these kids, teenagers, when they look at 9/11, that's their only recollection of that. Yeah. I mean, unless when he watches Godzilla or something and he sees the towers up there or Armageddon, and then of course I get the response, "Hey Dad, do they always pick on New York? Is New York always getting hit by meteors, flooding, aliens,
gorillas? Yeah.
Gorillas, you guys kind of get everything." But no, I'd be honored to come there. I'm sure I'd bring out my fam for that. That would be outstanding.
Yeah, it was a really nice ceremony. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We do it. Have a little breakfast, lunch before, and really nice.
Sweet, I'd love it because I could hang out with you, meet some other first responders, and
yes, that would be nice.
That would be great. But yeah, we're just having a meeting. Everybody here is I'm tuning in to watch Eric and John plan their fall. Yes, that's what we're doing.
Not away.
Yeah. Heck yeah, but I'm excited about tomorrow night. I'm going to go grab that link and share it all over.
Okay.
So I thank you for coming on, bud. It's always great to have you on. I'll see you tomorrow. It's not
Yes. Thank you for having me on. Always. I really appreciate it.
We love having you on. You're like like I said, you're
Butch is going to get mad at me. Do you shave? I just went to the beach. I'm no, I didn't shave.
It's Monday. I didn't shave. Now, I will shave before tomorrow's show. We have Montel Williams on tomorrow.
Wow.
Montel.
You know who I interviewed last week? Tim Tebow.
Ooh, I saw that. Total envy. Love Tebow.
Well, my backdrop was all screwed up, but Tim Tebow, and I asked him a question that knocked him out of the. I said, "That was a good question, wasn't it?" He goes, "Yeah, that was a great question." I'm not a good interviewer like you. You throw the questions out and you sit back. I ask a question, I go, "Hey, isn't that a good question?" I don't think you're supposed to do that as an interviewer.
That's true.
On the back a little.
Oh, we love it. Anyways, thanks, John. I'll see you tomorrow evening or afternoon for me, and we'll be on, and we'll get people. If you're watching here, make sure you tune in. Well, you tune in every time Laughter Saves Lives does these lives, but tomorrow tune in, and you get to see my smiling Jack Frost face for
fun.
And an hour or two.
And we'll post the link.
Perfect. Thanks, John. We'll talk to you real soon, bud. Be safe.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Have a good one.
You too.
I gotta find out.
There we go. There we go. Look at that. So, that is our Monday show for you guys today. Please keep in mind, we'd love it if you continue to subscribe and follow our show, like it, share it with folks, and make sure you tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. We have an hour-long show. We have one guest tomorrow. Our one guest tomorrow is none other than famous talk show host, also Marine and Navy veteran, or Uber, Love you, Navy, but you are the Marine Corps Uber. We have the one and only Montel Williams joining us. Will be a great conversation. We're going to talk about what's going on in the country, also talking about Montel's mission to help vets. I was honored 2 years ago to attend an event as a member of a board for what is called the Vetty Awards. It takes place every year in Washington, D.C. Montel was one of our honored speakers, and what he got on stage and shared was one of the most touching moments as a veteran, hearing another veteran speak. Simply amazing that what was shared during that time. Montel loves our country, loves our vets, and is standing up, like so many, like all of our guests today, through comedy or through just their organizations focused on, like we had Sam talk about, helping our veterans and first responders with post-traumatic stress. Obviously, the on-the-job, the stress that they're going through now, it's only getting worse. I mean, how many times have you seen footage in the last week of officers standing on a line being pelted with water bottles by protesters who have no problem going on social media and telling you, oh, the poor officer, he got hit by a bottle of water. Well, clearly they don't understand. Maybe we should zip water at their head and see how it feels. It's amazing how people have downplayed this. Anyways, we have a lot of amazing organizations out there. It'll be great to hear Montel talk about his, but I'm grateful for the guests that we had on today to talk about their organizations and what they're doing to make a difference. Because at the end of the day, folks, it's not about being negative, it's about being positive. Because we wake up every morning and we get 24 hours on the clock again to make a difference in the world. You have a choice. You have 3 of them. You can sit on your ass and do absolutely nothing, status quo. You can be a person who's against making a positive change for the future, or you can grab the guidon and be the tip of the spear and charge up the hill and make a difference. The choice is simply yours. Don't ridicule people who choose to be the tip of the spear. Today, we had 3 people who clearly have picked up the guidon and decided to charge up the field with amazing stories. I also have picked up the guidon and charge up the hill for a platform where I will share their stories to the widest, vast crevice I could get this story out to, and hope everyone listens. Now, we have a choice now, folks. We either make a difference or we don't. We don't have time for finger pointing and saying who's doing wrong and who's doing right. Difference is we need to support each other. We have a race problem in our country and always have. It's time now to stand up. From Eddie, he could have made a difference years ago. This is theirs. It's how we want to make a difference. The truth is here. So all I'm asking for everyone out there is to make a difference. Watching this show, you standing up for what's right and what's wrong. Save the hate for some other thing. Don't be hateful. We don't have time for that in this country. There's a lot of hate out there. If you are having any issues that come with mental disorder, call 800 out there, and they will help you. Seriously, if you need somebody to talk to, feel free to reach out to me. I am always available. You can reach me on my email, which is ericlmitchell@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at that email. If you have any questions or want somebody to talk to, I have no problem with you just sending me an email. We'll hop on the phone. You can vent away to me. Whatever helps you. I know that a lot of the systems are pushed to their brink when it comes to people calling and needing to talk to somebody. I'm not a qualified therapist, but I'll let you vent. You can use whatever words you need to use. I won't take them personally. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to get out there for everybody. So let's all stay positive, move the ball forward. Let's get the ball across the goal line. Let's all stay united as the country that we're designed to be. We don't need to watch Rome burn. We're not Rome. Yeah, just don't do that. So anyways, as always, I want to thank everybody on part of our entire team here at To The Point Show. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We have the one and only Montel Williams. On Wednesday, we have Phil Paz, the singing former police officer, Air Force / dude does everything. You will not want to miss him either. I swear I can speak English today, folks. So as always, I'm Eric Mitchell. Stay safe, stay strong, and be smart. And God bless America.